Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial how to model a step stool in Shapr3D. In this video I will show you how to set up effectively our sketches and then how to use smart modeling techniques to design this step stool. Before we get started, let's set up our scene. Units, we want to be in inches and decimal. We want to have all our snapping targets turned on. And I also have organized the whole scene and named everything for our reference, so you always can quickly take a look at them and learn from the parts I pre-made. Great, now we can get started. Before we go into building this, let's step back for a moment and take a look at the design, what is unique about it, and then I will talk about how I approached modeling it. So if we take a look from the top, there we can see that this design essentially can be built out of a top and a bottom arc, connected with left and right two lines. We also have arcs in this at these corners and an offset in the inside. And this is then basically what I extruded out. It's a very simple extrusion command. We take a look from the front. What is, however, interesting, there is, you see, it's not just a straight extrusion that goes up. It is slightly tapered. And when we do the extrusion, we can simply use the built-in taper command. So only one sketch at the bottom we need to create this design. Also here, this is not created via a sweep. It's also simply an extrusion, but then I rounded it so it looks like a sweep surface. The inside is empty, so it's kind of like a shell, because I built this first as a solid and then I used the shelling command to core it out. Put a sketch also onto the sides to model then the holes. Very easy. I did this actually on, as you can see, on each side. And I built first two cylinders and then mirrored them over, and then the cylinder I used to cut each side. This is the reason why I only have one sketch. And the last very interesting feature to show is, why do I have this cut section plane here? This was very useful. So I created this plane. I will go onto it, and now I turn on cut section view and turn this plane off. There. So this way I can very easily look into my design based on where this construction plane is and work on there. The ribs, if I will quickly show the sketch, as you can see, is very basic. I did not sketch this out very much in detail because all the elements we see here are pretty much the same, and I simply built basic geometry elements and then used the replace face command to simply join the extrusion onto the bottom and the side faces. And that worked out really great. So not much work with a sketch, very basic. And then the rest I simply did via smart modeling commands. Okay, so with this covered, I think now we're ready to start working on our sketch. To start, I will hide everything besides our base profile. Let's go to a top view. I will hide the folder system, and let's take a look at how we can create this basic sketch in a very effective and controllable way. So we have here a center line. We have a bottom and a top arc, left and right lines, and then all the stuff inside. It's up to you if you want to use the automatic line tool or the line arc. I prefer the automatic tool, because what I will do first is I go to move this a little bit to the side, and with a arc motion I draw an arc, and then somewhere else I draw an arc too. Very good. So let's take a look at an arc. You see the arc is made out of 3 elements: start, endpoint, and center point. So the center points should be vertically aligned, and the endpoints, they should be connected. So let's draw a line. How do we now get our center points to be perfect? I will draw a line down here, nicely centered, or also drawn on the grid, and simply lock it. So now this line cannot move. These 2 points, I would like to be symmetrical to this line. Same here. Very good. You might have noticed that by making the left and the right point symmetrical, they are left and right, but also vertically aligned. So when I select this point and move it to the right, or if I move it up, you see the other point follows it. Perfect. This is actually really nice because now I can just focus on how much would I like each arc to move or be shaped. This endpoint I can move up. This endpoint I can move over. In this way, very easily design actually the whole space. These 2 arcs can, but don't really need to be the same. If you zoom out a little bit, you can see the 2 circles. Very good. This we can bring over 1 step, maybe make this a little bit less aggressive, and the same here. Maybe a step over. Good. You're free to add dimensions to it if you want to. We can specify this. We can also say from here to here, what is that distance? So if you would like to have more more control over specifying the proportions. To prevent this to move, I will select all 4 lines, or 2 lines and 2 arcs, and lock it. Here you can see we have a little bit of an offset, and that is 0.75 inches. And we have these corner arcs. So let's draw actually these arcs first. I draw with a arc motion, myself an arc, and it's really important that the endpoints snap onto each element here. There, very good. Now, each arc should be equal. A sequential line, you see how I make them all equal, and these arcs have to be tangent to the 2 big arcs and the lines. So we select the arc and then add the line, arc, and the other arc, and always add the tangency constraint. Very good. The nice thing about this is now all these arcs flow tangent into the other outer sketch, and because they're all set to be equal, I can slide them very easily. See, that's actually really nice. 2.25 and specified to that dimension. So now we created the outer profile. I will not trim these corners off. I actually like having these lines because it's my basic sketch. Let's take a look at the offset command. We have single and loop. Select loop, and there, you see, the sketch engine is actually smart enough when I do the loop to understand the inner profile. Click OK. There we are. Very nice. Good. The sketch is actually now pretty much done. Now let's take a look at the extrude command. The whole step stool is around 5.25 inches high. here, and we'll just show you these two views, or this view with the two elements, I mean. And we can extrude this up 5.25. That's just the height. And there on top of the slider is the rotation tool for the draft. Be careful actually with the degreeing. You see these corners get very tight. So the size of the extrusion start radius, and then or that actually defines how much draft we can add before then those corners actually turn into points. So let's do this one more time. Now we can add a draft, make it bigger or smaller, and there you see it even goes into a line. So a 5-degree draft is fine. This actually will help very much also with injection molding, because we can just pull the mold out. Very good. How do we do the rim around? Well, we can just extrude it up. Okay. Also by 0.75. That looks good. But if we look from the top, we might see there is a gap there in between. So this actually did not really work well. How can we do this better? It's actually very easy. All we need to do is we select both profiles and extrude all this up and join. Let's take a look. Yeah, there we are. Much better. I will go back one more time, hide this, and select all this and extrude this up. You see, in this case here, I'm selecting just the two profiles of a sketch. Previously, let me redo the step and show you what we have there. Here I will select the sketch profile plus the face of my body, and then if I extrude this out, you see I end up with an edge there. That one I don't necessarily want. So it's better technique to simply extrude the sketch cleanly, and then we don't have these other edges there. Very nice. And these two bodies I will simply join with the union command. Very good. It's that easy. Now, let's take a look at the roundings. That's actually pretty fun. Why did I extrude this one 75 up? Well, it's also, this distance is 75, which means now I can give this edge a radius of 75 if I want to, and it would be a perfect arc, nearly. There's a little draft, obviously, so that does not 100% work that way, but you can see this is a really nice half round. The resulting inner edge I can select and add a radius to. There, very good. Or let's make this a little bit smaller. This is now where we can start playing around. Maybe 0.5. This is then really up to you. 0.25. So we have a small hood at the bottom. I will go back to 0.7 and 0.2, well, 0.125. Okay. And then here on top, we can give this a radius too. 0.5. Very nice. The next logical step would be, at this point, we can go ahead and core it out. because now actually I will do this, and then I can cut the holes, and then I can add the construction support inside. So with that face selected, we go to more, and oops, sorry, no, it's already there. There's shell on the left side. Maybe I will use 0.125, so it's easy to see. Very good. You see, that was pretty easy. Let's take a look at the holes. They're fairly simple. The nice thing of this design is we have flat surfaces. So I select the surface with my finger. Now I double tap on it. That then creates a projection or aligns actually the view right to this face. On here I can draw 2 rings. You take a look at the top, you see there is an edge plus a midpoint. There I snap to the midpoint. I make this horizontal and draw a line this way. Sorry, I meant this line I made vertical, because this line I will make horizontal. I can select this way. So I would like this endpoint to snap to the midpoint there. I will, for that, simply remove this vertical constraint, so I can move this freely around, snap to the midpoint. Here, let's make this a little bit more noticeable. Okay, here. So there it is, actually on the midpoint. And by selecting vertical, you see then it lines it up. Now I can move this up and down, and I can move this left and right, and that specifies basically where the holes are. Also here, both rings equal, and then ½ an inch, meaning it's 1 inch of a diameter. Yeah, that's what we have. A little bit closer, because 2 fingers should go through there. Something like this. We could give this a dimension. So when we have 1 inch for each hole, which means ½ an inch, ½ an inch. That's the radius, plus ½ an inch space in between. And this should be 1.5. So like ½ an inch for the left ring, ½ an inch for between the rings, and ½ an inch for the right ring. Very good. So these 2 elements we can select and extrude, but I extrude them as new bodies. That's quite important. Then I will hide this. I will also hide the sketch. These 2 I simply extend a little bit. Very nice. Let's show my original sketch. How do I bring now those 2 over to the other side? That's super easy. I double tap onto them and select them both. Go to More, Mirror. And from this first sketch here, I select this line. And you see it understands this as a mirror plane. Click Done, and there we are. Now I will select the stool, the holes, and select Subtract. I have to figure out now what's plus, what's minus. Plus is select bodies to remove from. Yeah, that is correct. And minus are the tools that will be used to remove. I do not want anything to be kept. Click Done. There we are. You see? Super easy. Okay. Last step is to look into how we do the rib stuff. I will create a construction plane, so it's a little bit easier to see what we're doing inside. So from this, I would like to create a plane to there. Select it with my finger, double tap, turn this on, and now there you see, I see actually it from the top. Now this is not the way I want, so I take a look from the bottom, select the plane with my finger, I double tap, turn then the cut section on. Yeah, that is much better. Very good. So from this view now, I will, from this view I will create a new sketch onto that construction plane. So select the plane, new sketch. Very good. I will show here, I will draw a line. For example, there. And I want to check something. Yeah, so perfect. This line I have there is symmetrical. And I will draw this on purpose a little bit smaller. Draw a line here parallel to it. You have to be careful with the snapping. One line here too. Then I will connect this. Very good. And let's do an arc. There's my arc. And also here, we will use the same technique to create our symmetry. Okay, one more time. Endpoint, endpoint to this line. Symmetry, very good. This line we want to be, it's vertical, but we also want to lock it so it can't really move. Very good. There we are. You see now if I adjust this, just scaling it, but I want to change the radius. How do we do this? Very easy. We simply lock a point. Now this is much easier to adjust. So I have to find a medium value between the upper radius and the lower radius of my model. We can add then also here an offset. We go single this time, so it does not interfere with the other sketch elements. 1.8. Let's see what the distance here is. This is 2 inches. Very good. 0.2 inches. It's a little bit thick. I make this a little bit bigger on purpose so you can see this easier. 0.2. Also here, the endpoints. We line up. No, this we do not want to be locked anymore. And this we can move down, center this a little bit. Very good. Okay, so here comes now the kind of fun part what we will do. I will select all this and extrude this down a little bit, just to there. And we'll zoom into my object. And this is then the technique how we can create these structures. So I position my camera so I can see this face and this face. Because when I select the top one, on the left side in Tools, I can go to Replace Face and select the bottom face and say Done. It is being moved to there. Very good. I noticed now the way how I model this will look right actually at the rings. So this is actually not good. No problem that this happens, because this is kind of like a very good example why I always try to have rather very simplistic sketches than having very detailed sketches, because it makes things a lot easier when we have to adjust something. There, so this is locked. Now I will change the radius a little bit. And you see when I do this, now I can see where the magenta line hits the surface between the two rings. Maybe a step down. Yep, this is good. Okay, then we add our 1.25, very good. We will close this. Okay, very good. So let's do this then one more time again. We select the individual elements here. Scale this down. Replace face to there. Very good. So how do we do the next part? I will hide the sketch. I will click on the top, and there I can see, so this is 2.375 inches, quite tall. I would like this to be just 1 inch. You see it moved it down. Very nice. We select this object, select the rest, and then we join it. Okay, very good. And now we can select this. This is all now actually one body. And look at that. Ta-da! You see? So it was a little bit difficult to figure out now, because this command works on one target, but we had a flat surface and an arced surface, which are like two targets. And by joining it together, it understood how to simply do this. There. Very good. Okay. Now let's quickly turn on the previous sketch here. So this is, we could specify this to 0.125. You see that moves it actually over a little bit. How do we get this actually really correct? Also here again, point, midline, symmetry. Or one more time. So these points, symmetry to this line, correct click order. There we are. But you see to the top, this changes walls because they are not vertically, horizontally, etc. constrained. There we are. And now here we do the same. You, there. We select all those. Very good. Extrude them down. Then I will go to a similar view again. There, so there I can see each side. Very good. I select the bottom face, go to more, replace surface onto that one, click done. Very good. You see that actually pushed it down. I can hide all this. 1 inch. And from the previous problem, we know, okay, next step is we do a union. And now I can go ahead and select this face, more, replace face there, and one more time there. Because these objects were joined, replacing the face. We don't have to do anything else. This is truly a perfect cut section. Not perfect cut section. It's perfectly fused. So let's create actually a cut section, so you can see what is going on here. We move this one slightly in and turn this one on, and there you see. There we have the cut section. Very good. Okay. I will hide the base profile, and let's take a look at what we have here. So you see there are just more elements added to it to loosen everything up. There is also an extrusion that went down just to save a little bit of material. I could do this on this level, so I select it with a finger double tap and draw myself a line and a line and then an arc to there. Now this moves a little bit crazy, so let's make our trick again with U and U symmetry to there. Same here, symmetry to there. And then this we bring in. I can try to eyeball the degree a little bit there. This maybe can go over a tick. Okay. And this, now you see it selects parts of my object, of my sketch. That's what I want. So I select the whole sketch, move this one down by 0.5. The whole extrusion is actually just 1 inch. So this is half of it. The previous sketch here I will remove, hide, so I can extend this a little bit. And I will use this to this, subtract, and this is the part I would like to remove from. This is my tool, done. Very good. And we can still continue manipulating everything. So you see this just beautiful how this works. So -1, make it clean. Move this in, -1. And can create more roundings or do it this way based on how we would like to style everything. And this pretty much is the way how this steps tool was built with all the details in it. You saw the modeling techniques is actually, or the process is actually very simple. It's just a smart way how to make decisions. When do we use which one? And to perfect this, we can give the whole object some nice colors and select the top face. Give it a nice blue. And there we are. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned a little bit about how to model something like this. That pretty much is also ready for injection molding.